he was robbed.
MJ is one of the bigger reasons that NBA is how big it is.
I guess the greatest of all time versus the best of all time thing, like
a baby like carrying a bunch.
No.
We're going to be doing a debate on who is the GOAT between Michael Jordan and LeBron James today. I think it's MJ. I mean, I'm a Bulls fan, so some people would think I'm biased, but, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm personally a LeBron guy. Well, actually, I'm a Steph Curry guy.
Okay.
You know, I'm personally a Warriors fan, but after all these years, I just feel like the debate just becomes further and further in LeBron's case. But I don't know. That's just like what I think.
I also agree. I don't know a ton about him, but I do, like, from what I've seen and like the stat lines, it seems like LeBron is the GOAT. So,
I mean, let's get into why we think each other or each player is the GOAT. You can start, Johnny.
I would say that LeBron, one of the things that's holding him back that a lot of Michael Jordan fans love to talk about is this Defensive Player of the Year, his lack of Defensive Player of the Year award. He was robbed, by the way. The guy who won it didn't even make an all-defensive first team, which doesn't make any sense. And I forget what year that was, but I believe was that I think it was Marc Gasol who won. I honestly forget.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I forget. Sorry. But yeah, that's one of the things that I feel like is holding him back. But overall, I just think LeBron is a better player all time, just for his averages throughout the years, the all-time scoring record, like basically the top of like every all-time list.
he's played a lot more games too.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple different ways you can go off of it. Some people think of their GOAT as consistent. Some people think of prime. I think the thing with MJ versus LeBron James, if you go off consistency, I don't think there's an argument. I think LeBron James wins 100 out of 100 times with that category. But I think the fact that the per-game stats for each player, and if you look at not just like the total stats, but if you look at each game per game stats, I think MJ beats him in a lot of spaces. And on top of it, he has the achievements, the 6 rings, basically back to back 3 straight season wins for him.
Can I talk about the rings though?
Yeah. What up, guys? Just wanted to remind you that HoopRankr is doing a shoe giveaway that ends on July 15th. So if you want a brand new pair of 83 basketball shoes, go download the app HoopRankr. I put the link in the caption. And when you download the app, you gotta play one verified game. And when you play that one verified game, you get 1 entry ticket. But if you play 2 verified games, you get 2 entry tickets. So every game you play, you get 1 extra entry ticket. So if you want to increase your chances at winning the giveaway, go play as many games as you can. And I just want to let you guys know that. Now back to the video.
I think it's more impressive to make it to 10 NBA finals than it is to win 6 rings, to be honest. I think 4 rings is enough, considering that he was playing in an era with Wardell Stephen Curry II. So, I don't know. He had to go up against way better teams than Jordan did, which is why he lost so many times. He's gone against incredible all-time teams, but especially earlier on in his career. I mean, he was playing with a terrible Cavaliers team. He was before he went to the Heat, it was just like a baby carrying a bunch of grown men, and it was just it was unbelievable to see. And even making the finals in 2007 and playing against the Tim Duncan Spurs was impressive in its own, even though he lost.
Yeah, I definitely think you have a point about that. I don't think anyone can argue the fact that today's NBA is better, but the thing you have to think about is the fact that in any sport anyone plays in, the current day is always going to be better than the old day, and that is just reality. And I feel, yes, you can use that in the argument, but at the same time, you can't be just because his stats didn't line up. Now is a 3-point shooting game instead of a 2-point shooting game.
Yeah.
If you look at the stats, MJ shot 500 3-pointers his whole entire career. I think LeBron James has over 2,500, and it's just a different type of game. And MJ was considered, I don't want to say a shooter, but he wasn't like considered someone who was bad at shooting.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, how many threes you say LeBron has made?
This ratio is actually pretty similar.
I think
he made 500 and he attempted almost 2,000. And LeBron James.
So 3-point.
Attempted.
Well, I mean, if we really think about it. Oh wait, yeah. If we think about it, 3 points made, 581 versus LeBron's 26-18. If LeBron didn't make a single three, he would still have more points than Michael Jordan. So that debate is void. And then also the comparing eras debate as well, I think is ridiculous, because if you're using that argument, then that means that Jordan's 6 rings isn't as valuable as LeBron's 4.
I agree, but you can't be as dominant to win 6 straight rings. Like, yes, he had that gap season, but you have, 6 straight, and I just think no one else has come close. I think Bill Russell I don't know if he got 6 straight, but he has 11. But before those two guys, I don't think there's been anyone else who's been as dominant for a sense of winning. And on top of all this, I think one of the biggest things, and there is an argument side to this, so I think you could argue this pretty well, but I think MJ also, because of his brand and his name, he has the rights to the GOAT debate, gets that name, because everyone, when you walk around, what do you wear? You wear Jordan, or you wear Jordans, or you know what I mean. But you don't walk around wearing LeBrons or LeBron James. And I think that's
like
a big
lifestyle
The
debate.
popularity thing is I feel like that's hard. When you talk about the GOAT, are you referring to because they're both, as far as popularity goes,
They're both
everyone,
icons.
you see
They're both
LeBron
icons.
James jerseys everywhere, and you see Michael Jordan jerseys everywhere. They both have their own shoe line. Yeah, Jordan is maybe a little more popular as far as that, because everyone knows the Jordans, but when you're talking about GOAT, are you referring to just their playing ability, or are you talking about
I'm talking about their prime. You have to count consistency. You have to count in achievements. You have to count in, do people enjoy watching them? How many people do they bring to the game? You have to include, anything like that. You have to include all of it. The GOAT is the greatest of all time, not just because of stats, not just because of consistency.
Yeah.
It's about everything combined. And I think we can all agree, when you look at football terms, Tom Brady holds every single category that has.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's no question the GOAT. But I don't think, MJ holds, I would say, majority of those. He holds prime. He holds, the popularity. He brought people to the game and all of that. He owns the brand. He owns, achievement, right? But I do think LeBron is the most consistent of all time. So I think if the ultimate reasoning behind someone's GOAT, do you think your GOAT is about consistency, or do you think it's about the prime and everything together? I don't think it's about one thing.
Well, as I was having a private conversation with Evan about it earlier, I like to distinguish it as the greatest of all time is separate from the best of all time. And the greatest of all time, I would say, is Jordan. But the best most complete basketball player of all time is undoubtedly LeBron James. There's no way you can even make that debate. And another thing, too, is I have a question. What do you have to say about when Michael Jordan took his years, when he played baseball, them still having a consistent record as they did without him? It just showing his impact. Because remember when LeBron left the Cavs in 2018 to go to the Lakers in 2019, when he went to the Lakers in 2018, their team completely fell off the next year, right? And that's evident in the other teams that he's left. So, I mean, just from a pure impact standpoint, Like, how do you compare those?
I think that's a great question. I think, LeBron James leaving his team and them not being as good, a lot of people don't give as much credit to the coaches as well. I just want to put that out there. I don't think that's the main reason the Cavs were not as good. But I think, taking their number one player away from that team is, for the Cavs, was their issue. They didn't have the guy they went to, right? Now, when you look back at MJ, when he had Scottie from the beginning, he kind of taught him, he kind of allowed him and allowed Scottie to get better alongside him, and he made Scottie Pippen better. I also think Scottie Pippen, after MJ left for one season, he's already progressed to where he needed to be, because MJ kind of allowed, MJ got him the ball when he was young. He kind of created space to get him open, and that kind of created Scottie Pippen, in my opinion. I don't think Scottie Pippen came out of nowhere and he was supposed to be the best of all time. I think LeBron James, when he came out of college, he was expected. Well, he didn't go to college, but when he came out of high school, he was expected to be that guy. I don't think Scottie Pippen had that, and I think MJ kind of created that sense, and he got him the experience he needed and shots he needed to kind of get to where he needed to be. And I'm someone that thinks if someone puts in enough work, they can become good at anything. And I think MJ kind of taught him, and Kobe did the same thing with his teammates.
I was going to mention that. So I feel like that kind of waters down the argument.
Yeah.
If you compare them, Shaq and Kobe, and that's the reason why Kobe is not really considered sometimes in people's top 10s of all time. It's because of like how he was overshadowed by Shaq. Like, how could you be the greatest of all time if you weren't even the best on your team?
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think that, yes, they played amazing when he left, but I think MJ created a team that when he left, they were able to sustain a good record because of a good coaching that was good. They had momentum. They won the 3 years before he left. So they're confident. They had momentum. They had the chemistry going, which I think MJ was a big part of. But when he left, they kept it because, creating it is the hard part. But once you have it, you have it. So, I mean, I think you could argue that, but I also think that, MJ was a big reason they still won that season, or won a lot that season.
Okay, so this kind of made me think about this. You talked about Tom Brady, and you say like, Tom Brady is like probably the best quarterback of all time, and Tom Brady left the Patriots, went to the Bucks, and won the Super Bowl with them, and so it's kind of like when you look at like. This is like, again, with like the greatest of all time versus the best of all time thing. Like, yeah, like Jordan definitely, I see what you were saying. Like Jordan kind of like, obviously he was like an essential part of the team, but he also kind of like made the team what it was, and made like the reason the team was so good wasn't necessarily because of like just him. It was because he kind of, the chemistry and the momentum and like what you were saying. And then you look at like LeBron, he left the Cavs and went to the Lakers, and, and then, like, their single impact as far as like how good they are versus like their impact on like how good they can make the team, kind of like it's I almost feel like it evens out kind of.
I think it almost evens out, but you also have to look at, nowadays, if you're going back to the sense of today, and today's NBA is better. Look at LeBron James' team. Kyrie Irving, he was amazing when he was with the Cavs.
You don't want to go to that. You don't want to go there. I promise you don't want to go there.
All right, but
you mentioned Kyrie Irving, and that's it. Because Kevin Love wasn't an all-star.
Yeah, but there's other guys within there. I'd have to look back at the team.
He was the only other all-star.
Yeah, but all-stars doesn't define a
But you were going to make that argument. You were saying he had Hall of Fame teammates. But all the Hall of Fame teammates. But I feel like you were going to go there. You started listing teammates.
Well, Kyrie Irving is one hell of a player. I can tell you that.
One.
And yeah, he's in today's NBA. In his prime, he was one of the best in the league at his position at that time.
He wasn't top 3 at that time.
Maybe not top 3, but one of the best. Meaning, like, he would probably. I bet you he would be top 8, top 7.
Yeah.
maybe even top 5. I would have to kind of review. But, I mean, I just think when you review all of that and you talk about today's better players, you have to also consider the fact that LeBron played with better people as well. Like Anthony Davis, he was great too. And then, injuries kind of caught up with him. But the fact that I think him and his team now, he has Luka Doncic now.
Yeah, but he's 42 or whatever.
All right, that's a fair point. But I think there's still...
He's not going to win anymore.
I still think that the teams he's been put on, you could argue have been better than what MJ had too. So, I mean, you can't, when you compare how good people are as well, I do think that today's NBA is a better NBA, better players than it was 20 years ago. But that's with every sport. Every sport is going to get that progression as you go because kids start getting involved. Look at some of the guys coming in nowadays, like Wembanyama. Like, he came into the league with something we've never seen. And that's because of how big the NBA is now and how many people view it. And I think MJ, believe it or not, I mean, you can call me a Bulls fan and biased, but I think MJ is one of the bigger reasons that NBA is how big it is today. I think it would have been big no matter what. But I think if you look at the growth rates, I think when he came in and started playing really good, I think he really sparked something extra on top of what they were doing to create them a better and bigger league.
So is Babe Ruth the greatest baseball player of all time because he's the most impactful?
No, he's not.
So how can you make that argument for MJ?
I think, wait, hold up. You said because he's the most impactful? I don't think he's the best because of Shohei. But that's a whole different argument itself.
Okay. This goes back to like the greatest versus best. Like if you want to talk about raw ability, like with the difficulty of the major league now and everything, and this is not even on basketball anymore. Like Shohei is the best of all time. But you talk to some random person on the street, like who, has been living under a rock even, they're gonna know who Babe Ruth is. But they probably won't know Shohei Ohtani is. Now, Shohei Ohtani is really popular, even among people who don't watch baseball. But, like, it just kind of goes back to, like, if you want to talk about the greatest of all time versus the best of all time, like, I feel like you're kind of like, it's hard to compare them.
Yeah. I mean, I had this argument every single day back in high school with one of our friends, Rion. There's a mention, Rion, for you.
A feature.
But I think at the end of the year, after talking almost every single day, maybe not every single day, but almost every single day, we came down to the conclusion of, who is your GOAT? Who do you think? Because everyone's going to have a different opinion. Everyone has a different GOAT. But we came down to the conclusion, MJ had a better prime. He had the better popularity, but LeBron James had the consistency. So it kind of... You have to look at how do you see your goal and what's your vision on it. Some people see consistency as their goal, right? But I think that the achievements, the prime, and all of that is the GOAT. And I think if you go off of consistency, I don't think it's a question. I think we can all agree on who has more consistency.
I don't think we've been making the argument about consistency, at least recently, like in the last few minutes. But you mentioned how like, MJ is just like the most popular. I would say that that's going to change in the next like 20 years because people on the internet, they like love LeBron. They would do anything for LeBron. Like we were talking about before we started recording, we were talking about how the video of the 2016 Cavs reunion, he came in a helicopter and all the comments were talking about how they would all individually drive down to wherever they were meeting up just so he could safely get to his destination. Like people are so obsessed with LeBron and they love him and he's such a great icon. It's harder to do that for Jordan because I feel like also now Jordan has a really bad record of being bad to fans. So if you want to go that way, I feel like it's a little bit harder to make the argument. But if you're talking about just pure like aura as like I'm literally aura at like for basketball, I guess you can make the argument for Jordan, but I think that's going to change in at least the next decade.
So I disagree with that because I think if Kobe's accident never happened, I hate to bring him into this, but if his accident never happened, not one person would be commenting about him going in that helicopter. I think because he's a Laker and because he's one of the greatest of all time, no doubt, I would say he's 2 minimum. And Kobe was up there on that list for some people.
Yeah.
And he's on the same team currently as Kobe finished on and played his whole entire career on.
Mhm.
I think because of Kobe's accident, that's why the social media is so obsessed with him getting in that helicopter, because they don't want that same thing to happen to him. I don't think that has anything to do with obsession. I think it's, solely on, the matter of fact that Kobe's accident happened.
Well, I think it's just because there was another helicopter incident that happened before, and people are just putting 2 and 2 together that helicopters aren't safe. I think that's also a part of it, but I guess you can think about that in whatever way you want to. It's fair.
Yeah. Do we have any other, debates or questions?
No.